Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on Facebook. We are going over the iCloud today. This is going to be part one of a two-part class. iCloud is not one thing. iCloud is several things. So it's going to be easier to go over and to speak about when we break it up into two classes. There are so many different parts to this. Now, when it comes to iCloud, you may find that some things are interesting to you, and you may feel that A, B, and C are things you like, and the rest maybe not so much. And there's no worries. You have a lot of options to customize how much you do and do not use with your iCloud. So we'll be going over some of those options today. I'm going to switch my screen here to show the phone. Now, the first area I am going to move back a little bit here. I'm going to the settings button. Here we are. This is a great place to start off with when it comes to iCloud. I am signed into the iCloud. It shows my name there, Jana Rodriguez. I'm going to give that a tap. Now I have some guests here in person. Do you guys see that as well? Excellent. Excellent. Okay. We can see I'm using my account for a couple of items in here. I have an option to sign out at the bottom. I'm going to choose the little cloud icon there that says iCloud. Now, if you're on a different version, you may see this a little bit differently, but it's still quite similar. And if you're joining us online, please feel free to ask any questions in the comments that you may have about the iCloud or anything I'm speaking about, and I would love to answer them. If you're with us live right now, I'll do my best to answer them now. If not, go ahead and leave the comment anyways, and we'll get back to you and let you know what the answer is. So, one of the first things I want to address is the amount of storage space that you have. If you've ever seen a notice that says you're running out of iCloud space, your phone is running out of storage, click to purchase more storage, not enough room to back up because there's not enough storage. If you've ever seen that message, there's actually two places that your phone is referring to. The phone itself has a certain amount of space, and you have a choice of having iCloud space. Everyone who uses iCloud gets 5 gigabytes for free. And when you think about how many gigabytes your phone has, that's not a whole lot. So 5 gigabytes of free iCloud space usually is not enough to back up your information. If you take photos on here, save contacts, and have apps on there, to save that information somewhere else, you can back up to your computer. The same cable you use to charge your phone or your iPad is the same cable you can use to connect to a computer. And let me switch my screen here and show that. So from the charging cable, the part that goes into the wall can be unplugged from the little square. You can use this, it's a USB. You can plug this into the side, the USB of your computer. It can be Apple computer or Windows computer. And you can connect your phone to that. That's actually what I've got connected here. So the same charging cable can go straight to the computer.
The little charger that goes to the wall,
Exactly. Question is it the same cable that goes to the wall? And yes, it is. That cable can be unplugged from the little square that it comes from, the little square that goes into the outlet. The cable can be disconnected. This can be plugged into anything that is a USB port. You can find this useful for your car stereo, if you might use the radio or use the music or podcasts. You can connect to your radio if it has a USB. You can connect to your computer if it has a USB port. And I've got a question on here if can this be done also on an iPhone? And yes, this is appropriate for an iPhone or an iPad. That same charging cable can be plugged in to the computer. And one reason why you might want to do that is for backup. That's the topic right now, is when you're backing up your device, where can you back up your information to? The information that gets backed up would be items such as your pictures, your contacts. These things, they do take up some space, and you want to have a plan for backup for the worst case scenario should something happen to your device. Either it gets lost, it gets damaged, or any of those types of situations. You want your information to be saved somewhere else. The phone itself, that could be replaced, and it does get replaced every so often if you ever upgrade your device. How do you get your information to the next item? It's by having a backup somewhere. So one option is using that charging cable to connect to the computer, copy your information from the phone to the computer, or you can use the iCloud. The iCloud does offer you an option for backup. Now, the phones
Directly from the cloud.
directly to the cloud. The question was directly to the cloud. Yes. So where the issue lies with that is, think about how much space your phone has on it. How many gigabytes? Mine has about 64. iCloud gives you 5 gigabytes for free. That's not going to be enough space to store everything I have on my phone. If we switch over here, actually, I have upgraded my storage. Now this is an option. You do not need to purchase any more storage. But if you'd like that option of having iCloud storage space, where the benefit is you do not have to connect to your computer every so often, it will automatically do a backup of your information for you. You can choose to purchase iCloud space. Now, I have the colorful little bar here that's showing how much space I'm using of my iCloud. I've pretty much used it all at this point, and I'm going to give a tap of Manage Storage. Now, this is where I can choose to upgrade for more space. Just for the sake of example, I'm going to give that a tap, the upgrade button right there. Here are the storage plans. Yes, so that's the change storage plan option. Again, you do not have to purchase this. This is one option where backups can occur automatically. You don't have to connect. You really don't have to set reminders. It will back up itself automatically. So I think it's quite affordable. 50 gigabytes is 99 cents a month. That's what I currently have. By the looks of how full my iCloud is, I'm probably going to need to upgrade to the 200 gigabytes, $3 a month for 200 gigabytes.
So that tells you that doesn't have to contact.
Yes. The question here is, does that check mark show which one I have? And yes, you can see at the end of that strip there, mine has a little check mark, a blue check mark. That shows that I'm using the 50 gigabytes plan for 99 cents a month. I've got a question on there where it says, what if your phone is unable to load the storage info? That could be a couple of reasons. If it's showing that for your iCloud, you may not have a great connection where you are. There's also, I'm going to step back a couple of steps just to go over this again, because there are a couple of options where it shows how much storage you have. So I'm in the Settings app. Open that up. I've tapped my name here. I'm signed into iCloud. Once again, it says iCloud. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 down. I'll give that a tap. And here it's showing specifically storage and iCloud. This is where I can tap Manage Storage, where it should show what is taking up space on my iCloud here. Now I'm going to step back a couple screens here. I'm back on the main settings page. Now instead of tapping my name up top, I'm going to scroll down to the option that says General. Let me bring that to the top of my screen. There we go, the very top option there, General. Great. Now, all the way at the bottom it says iPhone storage. I'll give this a tap. This is another good place to see how much storage you have on your phone and on your iCloud. Give you a good idea about where space is being taken up. Now, as we can see, my phone does have a lot of items on it, so it took a while for it to load, and that's pretty common. If you're still having an issue where it's unable to load, go ahead and send us a private message too, because it may be something a little more particular going on with your phone, and we can help you figure that out if it hasn't loaded for you. So, taking a look on here, this differs from the screen we saw earlier because it says iPhone storage. This is how much space is actually on the phone, versus a moment ago we were looking at how much space was on the iCloud storage. If I scroll down, I can take a look and see what is taking up room on my phone. And again, to make space, if you've realized, I know I take a lot of photos with my phone, if I'm running out of room on my phone, I can use a charging cable and connect to a computer and choose to move photos over to the computer to save some space on my phone. Now I'm going to move back a couple of screens again. Here we go. I'm going back to the iCloud section. Now this again is in settings, and I'll give my name a tap. And I'm going to choose iCloud. Okay, great. Are you guys more or less seeing this screen here? Something similar? Okay, wonderful. Now if I scroll down, there's several items on here that are turned on, some are not turned on. We're going over several of these today. As you can see, there are a lot. Definitely not enough time to talk about everything today. So, right off the bat, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of these features are optional, and iCloud is not one thing, it is many things. So, up top here, the first two options are Photos and Mail. Going to start with Mail, you can see that I have this feature turned off. Using Mail with iCloud is the option of having an @iCloud email address. So this is just an option, it's not something you have to use. But if you don't have an email address, or you'd like to have an additional email address @iCloud.com, that's what the Mail feature is for. So I personally have it off. I'm not using an @iCloud.com, but if I wanted to have that additional email address, that's what the Mail option is for. It's for using an @iCloud.com email address.
And that's at iCloud.
That's correct.
You can actually use that as an email.
So it would prompt you, would you like to use an @iCloud email address, in which you can sign up for that. It's not something you have to do, it's an option to use. For example, when you're using Google, you have @gmail.com.
Right.
When you're using Yahoo, you may have @yahoo.com. Whatever your server may be, it's @thatservice.com. So if you'd like to use iCloud as your server, this is that option. Turning Mail on will give you an option to make a name @iCloud.com. Great. So that one's pretty straightforward. Look at some of the other screens on here, some of our other options. Now when it comes to contacts, calendars, reminders, most of the ones that follow here, these are all storing on your iCloud. What that means is when you're saving contacts, for example, if you save someone's name, it can be stored with your server. If you're using Gmail, iCloud, AOL, Yahoo, if you have that synced, that's what all of these are. These are synced. They will sync with that account. So by having contacts turned on, we switch back to this screen, contacts, calendars, reminders, and notes. These are all items that sync with the iCloud. You will actually see this in pretty much all of your Mail accounts. You can stay on that screen. I'm going to move back a couple screens here to go over to, here we go, mail. I'm sorry, not mail, accounts. So my Gmail, for example, has the same options. Gmail also has mail, contacts, calendar, and notes. So these are the items that will sync with your email account. And what that means is if I go to gmail.com on my computer at home or my computer at the library or my friend's computer, if I go to gmail.com and sign in with my account, the contacts, calendars, and notes that I have synced are going to show up there.
So everything will be available to wherever you are.
Exactly. So the question was, everything is going to be available where you are, and that is absolutely correct. So the purpose of this is, today we have so many things we can check our email on. We might have our phone, we might have our iPad, we might have our computer at home. Maybe we're traveling and we want to check our email at a relative's house or at the library or something. So in order to access that, you can sign in with your account, put your name and password, your emails are going to show up there, your contacts, your calendars, everything that you've selected to sync will show up there. The other benefit of having these synced is if I have my Gmail account or my iCloud account signed into this phone and I have it signed into my iPad, synced means it's going to show up on both devices. So this is very important when it comes to things such as your calendar events and your contacts. Now in doing that, it's important that you have these items checkmarked green. I'm going to tap my name there. I'm going to tap on iCloud once again. Now if I decided on this phone, I do not want my iCloud contacts to show up here. I only want them to show up when I sign in on my iPad. If I uncheck mark contacts, they will no longer show up on this phone. Same goes for my calendars. If I decide I don't want them to show up on here, I only want them to show up in other places, I can uncheck mark that and it will no longer show here.
Just by hitting the switch.
Correct. By hitting that green and white switch. When it's white, as it shows on the mail item on my phone, white means that it's not being used. It's not synced. You can see most of mine are green there. They are being synced. And the benefit of that is when I add a contact on my phone, it shows up on my other devices that are signed up. When I add a calendar event on my phone, it will show up on my other devices that are also signed in with these features turned on. So this is one of the very important features of iCloud, is that sync option. That makes it to where if you're signed in on more than one device, your items will show up on all devices. A great way to test that is by adding a contact. Make up something. I like to use Disney characters. Add Donald Duck as your contact. Then check your other device to see if it showed up there. It's a great way to see if you're synced. Switching back over here. So to review that, contacts, calendars, reminders, and notes are very common in email accounts that you may have on your iPhone or iPad or your computer. These are all items that will sync. Sync just means adding it on one device will show up on your other devices that are signed in. Today it's very common for us to have more than one device, so it's a great feature to use. I highly recommend it. Now, a couple of other features. I'm not going to go too much detail of everything today because there's so many features of the iCloud. We're going over Safari next. Some of the features of Safari include saving bookmarks. Bookmarks are the pages that you save, the websites that you save. So you may see this being called as favorites. In your bookmarks, you may have several folders in there, however you categorize them. This is another item that will sync. If you save bookmarks on your phone or your iPad, they're going to show up on your other devices. The other thing this syncs is information such as passwords that you save. If you've ever signed into anything on Safari, you may have noticed it prompts you sometimes, would you like me to save this password for you? This is another thing I personally use, I recommend. I feel like if you have a pulse, you're highly likely to forget what your password is if you don't save it somewhere. So there's no one right way to save your password. Some people prefer write it down on a piece of paper. That's great. Put it on a paper, put it somewhere you feel safe. You can use an app. Some popular ones are 1Password, for example. There's several apps that will save your passwords. It's whatever you're comfortable with. Now, Safari will give you that option. Chrome will do it as well. Several websites or web browsers will give you that option. Would you like me to save this name and password for you? And especially on an Apple device, I am comfortable with that choice. I prefer for the website's information to be saved on my Apple computer because I will not remember what password I used. It's a great idea to make your passwords a little bit more difficult, an uppercase, a lowercase, a blood sample, maybe not so much a blood sample, but when it comes to saving those passwords and remembering what they are, I do like to use Safari's option of saving the password. It's called keychains. This is one of those items that can sync with your Safari option. Switch back over here. Great. Now, going to scroll down, you can see down here as well, as I just mentioned, keychain. This is what actually saves passwords, credit card information, and it is encrypted, so no one else has access to you, to your information.
You have a switch on.
Yes.
So that means it's enabled.
Yes, seeing that green marker there means it is enabled, and this is a feature that I use frequently. I adore this feature. I often forget what my password is, what combination of uppercase and lowercase and number I've used, so I do like having Safari and keychains to remember my passwords.
So they work hand in hand.
They work hand in hand, that's correct. This also, many of the more recent iPhones have the fingerprint technology where just by placing your finger on the home button, you can unlock your screen instead of putting a passcode. This is also a feature that allows you to use Apple Pay. Apple Pay saves your credit card if your bank is updated to use Apple Pay, where you can pay for items with your phone instead of using your card, putting in your debit card number or signing your credit card. You can use Apple Pay. I actually mentioned to the guests here in person that today is one of the many days that I have forgotten my wallet at home. So I mentioned to them that if this does happen to me quite often, I forget my wallet, and as long as I have gas in my car, I'm probably not going to turn around for my card because there's several apps that have my credit card information that I can use to get through my day. I used the Chick-fil-A app today to make sure that I had lunch, ordered through the mobile app, paid through there, and had a delicious Chick-fil-A sandwich with some lemonade. Highly recommend. But having that feature is pretty awesome. Apple Pay is a great feature. It's very secure. I use it myself. Along with having that option when you're in a situation such as I was today that I left my wallet, I didn't have my card available, I have it saved in my phone. So it did save me from having to turn around and extend my driving trip today, which being in Houston, I love being in traffic, but I skipped it having my credit card information saved on my phone. I didn't have to make that second round back home. I'm going to switch back over here. So that was the keychain feature. Keychain does save. Head back over here. Very important information such as passwords and your credit card information. Head back over here. Now the last feature I'm going to speak about today is Find My iPhone. This is at the bottom of my screen here, the second one up. I'm going to give that a tap. We can see here there's two options, the first being Find My iPhone. I have this turned on. I think this is a very important feature. Should you ever misplace your phone, this can help you recover it. going to switch screens over here. A very important detail about this is knowing that if you cannot find your phone, you can sign into iCloud.com on anybody's computer, and there will be a feature to locate your phone. This is another instance where if you've left it at home or you arrive somewhere and realize, I don't know where my phone is. One of our guests in person today arrived to the class realizing that he didn't have his phone on him. So he knew it was in the car, but if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know if it's in the car, if I left it at home, or maybe I left it at the restaurant or wherever you were at previously, using Find My iPhone is a great option to find out where is it physically located. And you may also practice silencing your device. If you're seeing that color there, got a little orange color, that means the device is silenced. If you've ever dropped your phone in the movie theater and had it on silent, you can't call it. And if you've lost the phone, you can't call yourself either. It's kind of hard to find. So using Find My iPhone is a great way to recover your phone. I'm going to switch my screen over here. I think I might be able to... Let's see here. Gotta find how to get on the website through my broadcast here. Before I show the website, I should have the Find My iPhone app. Let me switch my screen again. Here we go. So I have several apps on here. This is why I'm running out of storage. There we go. This little green circle is the Find My iPhone app. Give that a tap. You will have to put your password in. If you have your phone in front of you, I encourage you to go ahead and give this a try, or just follow along. I'll be showing it on my screen in just a moment. Here we go. I have a pulse. I did forget my password. Bear with me a moment. What my password is, I think I just changed it to. What did I change it to? Oh, I remember. Haha. It's good to change these things up every now and then anyway. Please don't feel like you're the only one who can't remember your password. If you're ever in that situation, everyone goes through this at some point or another. And again, when it comes to saving your password, wherever you feel comfortable is the right place. There's no one right place. I feel like I should call my sister because I know she has it. Try this one more time. Darn. What a time for me to forget my password. I hope, though, it is a reminder that we are human. What did I change this thing to?
So that's my password for my...
It should be your iCloud password. That's actually a great point. One of the guests here in person said it's asking me for my Gmail account. So your Apple ID is very commonly going to be an email address, but the password is your Apple password, not your email address password. Switch here. And, oh, I remember what it is now. Here we go. Signing in. Now I can switch my screen. Oop! Darn, that didn't work either. Okay, one last try before I lock myself out of here. Actually, you won't lock yourself out of this. Were you guys able to sign in over there as well? Working on it too? This is such a human issue to have. So no worries about that. Yes, I got it. I have to say, this is one of the best feelings when you've forgotten your password and you've tried and tried and tried, and then finally, here we go. I'm in. We're going to speak about this part next, but since the notification is up here, I'll go ahead and mention there it's showing me turn on send last location. This was the second option under the Find My iPhone section. This will, when your battery is running low, and it will know when it's running low, it's going to send a signal of where it is, the device. And this, it could be the iPhone, it could be, you can see on the screen there, I've got an Apple Watch connected as well. It's offline right now actually because it is dead. Now if I had this option on of turn on send last location, it would show where my watch was when it died.
So that's for any device?
That is for any Apple device.
Is that synced in? Or is that how does that work?
This is one of the iCloud features. And I'll show exactly where you turn it on after this. So I am signed into the Find My iPhone app. It's showing the two devices that I have connected. I'm going to give my phone a tap. It's showing here I am in Houston at the Easter Seals main location over here at Loop Central Drive. So if I had that moment of panic, which this happens quite frequently too, you do that dance of, oh my gosh, where did I put my phone? And if you're thinking, I don't remember if I brought it to work with me, did I leave it at home, did I leave it at the mall, did it fall in the movie theater? This at least shows me, okay, it's here. I brought it somewhere in the building. Then the next issue is, well, I can't call it because the phone is missing. I could have someone call it for me. So if I ask you, for example, to call me, I can't find my phone, it might do no good if I have my phone on silent. But by using this app, Find My iPhone, there is an option at the bottom. Let me switch my screen here. Go back. I'm tapping on Jana's iPhone. At the bottom it says Actions in green. There's a choice there to play sound. This sound is going to play whether the phone is on silent or not. I don't know how it's going to react if I'm doing it from the phone. Here we go. You can probably hear that here. This is a common sound in my house when we can't find it. The phone is on silent right now. So this is a lifesaver if you put your phone on silent and can't find it. By signing into your iCloud, either on a computer or using Find My iPhone, the app, you can locate your phone, see where it is on the map, and you can choose the option that says play sound, even if your phone is on silent. The other important feature here, or the other important features down here, we can see lost mode and erase iPhone. If you realize, oh my gosh, I left my phone at the movie theater, put it in lost mode. This is going to put a code if you didn't have a code on your phone. It's going to show a message on the phone that you leave. You can give an alternate phone number. So if someone does find your phone, they have someone else to call. I have used this in the past when I did misplace my phone somewhere. I believe I left it at a beach by accident. I put an alternate phone number of my roommate, and actually 2 days later she got a phone call that someone found my phone, and they reached her because I left her phone number as a, if you find this phone, call this phone number. Switch my screen here. So you can put in a number that is of someone else who could be reached. I'll just throw a couple of numbers in there. And I could put a message. This iPhone has been lost. Please call me. I know it's common when things are lost. You might put reward if you want. You may not want to do that, but you have the option to put whatever you need in here. Please return this phone. I've left it somewhere. Please turn into restaurant management. please turn in to management or into manager. There we go. Whatever you think is appropriate there. You can see on the top this is step 2 of 2. I'm going to cancel this to not put my phone in lost mode. But these features are extremely useful if you do misplace your phone. Now, if you realize that the phone is not going to be found, it has no chance of coming back. This thing dropped into a lake, and the chances of someone recovering that are really not so good. You have another option on there at the bottom right that says erase phone. This will erase all the data on here, so if anyone does find it, no information is on there. Your pictures, your information, your contacts, everything will be cleared from there.
So that erases everything, all the memory.
The question is, does that erase everything, all the memory on there? And yes, it does.
Pictures, all everything.
Pictures, contacts, everything. So that's very much a last case. That's your last option. If you think, you know what, a week has gone by and no one has found this phone. A month has gone by, no one has found the phone. You can choose to erase it. So if it does get found, once it turns on and gets internet connection, it's going to erase itself. It'll get that signal. That's a great question. So the question here is all that information going to be lost forever? And this is actually a great ending point because it circles back to the first thing we talked about, which was backup. This is exactly why it's so important to back up your information. If you have a copy of your stuff somewhere else, the phone, the iPad, the computer, those can be replaced. Your pictures, those cannot be replaced. So it is very important to back up your information. You can do that, just a quick review. You can use the charging cable to connect to a computer and manually do a backup. You can also use the iCloud and its features to automatically back up. I am right now in the Find iPhone app. I'm going to step back a little bit here and go to Settings. Tap my name here, Jana Rodriguez. Here's my iCloud settings. Tap iCloud. You can see that colorful bar right there. That is my iCloud storage, separate from the storage I have on my phone. This is an option for backup. The benefit of this is I don't have to constantly remember to make a copy of the items on my phone to the computer. It will automatically make a copy. Usually does it at night, makes a backup.
So how easy, I don't remember backup anything. How easy is that to back up?
So the question I've got here is how easy or how hard is it to set up backup to the iCloud? Now I am going to switch my screen. Here we are. I'm going to tap Manage Storage. Okay, here's my backups. Good. Okay, this is going to be our last point that I'm talking about today, so I'm going to start from the main screen. Here we are. Okay, being our last point and such an important point, this is where you take your notes out. This is all noteworthy. I am going to tap on Settings. Next, here we go. I'm going to tap on my name. I'm signed into my iCloud here. I'm going to tap on iCloud. Right on the top of my screen here, you see it says iCloud Backup. Switching my screen here to show. This is, the question was how hard or how easy is it to set up your iCloud backup? This is the hardest part here. Make a muscle, pick your favorite finger, and tap on for iCloud backup. And you've done it. That's how you set up your iCloud backup. I've got a question on here too. Oh, there's actually a comment, not so much a question, there's a comment here. that says, I have a note on my husband's phone that informs the finder, if the phone is lost and someone finds it, it informs the finder that the phone belongs to a person with a cognitive impairment and to please call that person's number, because you can put, here's a number to contact me at, so we can communicate about the situation, and it makes sure that he's safer. It's a great note. Thank you so much for mentioning that. I'm going to switch back to my phone screen. Now, just a quick recap here once more. Today's class is just part 1 of 2 parts of iCloud. Tapping settings here. I am signed in, so we see my name, Jana Rodriguez. Give that a tap. Here is my option for iCloud. Now, once again, iCloud is not one thing. iCloud is many things. It is very much okay to decide you like some parts and not other parts. You have choices in what you do and do not use with iCloud because there are so many features. Now, today we've just gone over some of the features. Next month we are going over the rest of the features. If there's anything that you'd like me to bring up about iCloud for next month, please send us a message on the Bridging Apps Facebook, or go ahead and comment here on this feed. Let us know what you'd like to know. Thank you again so much for joining us today. We hope to see you next time. Thanks, everybody.